It's astonishing to see O.J. Simpson back in court. I know as we watch this, you're probably wondering, what happened? What happened in that confrontation when O.J. Simpson and his group of accomplices show up at a hotel and confront the memorabilia dealers? O.J. Simpson wants his stuff back. So here we are in a hotel. I have my group of accomplices with me. And think of this. When O.J. Simpson walked through that door, it changed his life. It led to a 33-year prison sentence and a conviction for armed robbery and kidnapping. So what went legally wrong for O.J. Simpson? Let's go in. All right, we're in. O.J. Simpson and his group of accomplices, he wants his stuff back. Time to confront the collectible dealers. But where does it go wrong? All right, I'm playing the role of O.J. Simpson with my group of accomplices here. Esther Panich, a criminal defense attorney. What everybody wants to know, where does this legally go wrong for O.J. Simpson? He says, Yale Galanter tells him, you're within your legal rights to do this. Just don't trespass on private property, use physical force. I come in with my group of accomplices. Are we legally wrong at that point?
Well, first of all, we have to remember Yale Galanter denies talking to O.J. until after the incident occurs. But the question is, when you came in, were you invited in? Or did I say, you know, what are you doing here? If you came in uninvited, then you've already been, you could be charged with trespassing.
Oh, there's nobody out this wants to hang that fucking phone. If you can steal my and sell it, don't let nobody out here.
By the tape that we've heard, O.J. Simpson says it's his stuff, expletive deleted, and he's screaming, he's yelling, he's got his group with him, and then he says in the midst of that, no one's leaving.
That is a crime also, because if he really is intimidating and he's bringing all these other people as evidence of his intimidation, then it is preventing people or a reasonable person from feeling like they could leave.
Let's talk about potential intimidation. It's O.J. Simpson and a group.
Yes.
And I believe, let's see the gun, Luis. We got a gun being brandished here as well. So I'm imagining you've got intimidation at the least, and armed robbery was the ended up being the conviction, Esther.
Correct. So if somebody has a weapon, that changes the entire dynamic. It's already a felony for robbery if you're taking stuff by threat of force, but when you introduce a dangerous weapon such as a firearm, even if that firearm is never shot, it is still enough to instill fear into the person, and so that's when it becomes an armed robbery.
O.J. Simpson said didn't know guns were involved. Does that matter in the midst of all this?
Well, it matters if the victim saw or perceived a gun. That matters. Criminal defendants who serve a lot of time have very little else to think about except how to overturn their conviction. And of course, the person who stood by them the entire time now becomes the natural target to be removed in the sense of vacating their trial and trying to get a new trial. So this is not unusual at all when a defendant who has been convicted and sentenced for a long term now turns on his lawyer. There are certain things that he says that I don't think are going to get him very far. For example, when O.J. says that he didn't have the right, that Galanter told him not to testify. That is absolutely the right of the defendant. It is not ever the right of the lawyer to determine whether the defendant is testifying or not.
But what about the plea deal? As you look at this, could that be an opening for O.J. Simpson that Galanter didn't tell him there was a plea on the table?
It could be. If there really was a plea on the table and not the prosecutor and defense attorneys just talking just to see what might happen, if there's really a plea on the table, it has to be conveyed to the defendant, always. The only thing O.J. has on his side is that he says it was his memorabilia that he was taking back. But in this case, the self-help that he thought he was asking Yale Galanter about was not self-help. You cannot self-help when you come in with other people and weapons. That takes it completely off the table, and now it's moved into the criminal realm.